The family of Tupac Shakur is investigating a potential link between the murder of Tupac and Sean Diddy Combs, following new developments in the case of the hip-hop mogul who is facing RICO charges in New York. Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Did Diddy really put $1 million hit on Tupac? That's the shocking claim made by Dwayne "Keffy D" Davis, a notorious figure in the hip-hop world. But now, Tupac's family is taking matters into their own hands, hiring high-profile attorney Alex Spiro to investigate these explosive allegations.
Earlier today, Spiro confirmed to our Court TV team that he and a team of investigators has been hired. This coming from attorney Alex Spiro, who represents Tupac's family.
Dwayne "Keffy D" Davis, who will go on trial next March for the murder of Tupac. This was back in 1996.
After nearly 30 years of unanswered questions, the Shakur family is determined to uncover the truth behind Tupac's murder. With new evidence surfacing and old wounds reopening, could this be the breakthrough that finally solves one of music's greatest mysteries? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the videos. In the early 90s, the hip-hop world was split by an invisible line. On one side, the gritty streets of New York. On the other, the sun-soaked boulevards of Los Angeles. Two titans of rap, Tupac Shakur and Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G., stood at the center of this divide. But it wasn't always that way. Tupac and Biggie started as friends, bonding over their shared love of hip-hop and their desire to make it big. They'd hang out in New York, freestyling and dreaming of the day they'd see their names in lights. But as their stars began to rise, so did the tension between them. The East Coast-West Coast rivalry wasn't just about geography, it was about style, sound, and most importantly, money. As hip-hop exploded in popularity, record labels saw dollar signs. Two labels emerged as the dominant forces: Bad Boy Records in New York, headed by Sean "Puffy" Combs, and Death Row Records in Los Angeles, run by the notorious Suge Knight. Bad Boy had Biggie as its crown jewel, while Death Row boasted Tupac after his release from prison in 1995. The competition between these labels was fierce. Each wanted to be seen as the authentic voice of hip-hop, and they weren't afraid to play dirty to get there. The rivalry escalated quickly. Diss tracks flew back and forth across the country. Tupac accused Biggie of being involved in a 1994 shooting that left him wounded. Biggie denied it, but the damage was done. Their friendship was shattered, replaced by a bitter feud that would define the era. The financial stakes were enormous. Album sales, concert tickets, merchandise, it all added up to millions of dollars. Both labels pushed their artists to be more aggressive, more controversial. The media ate it up, fueling the flames of the rivalry with sensationalized coverage. As the feud intensified, so did the real-world consequences. Tupac aligned himself firmly with the West Coast, tattooing thug life across his stomach and embracing a more confrontational image. Biggie, meanwhile, became the face of East Coast hip-hop, his smooth flow and street narratives captivating audiences. The impact on Tupac and Diddy was profound. Tupac saw Diddy as the puppet master behind Biggie, manipulating the situation for his own gain. Diddy, for his part, tried to downplay the rivalry, but his close association with Biggie made him a target for Tupac's anger.
An investigative team that has been hired by Tupac's family.
This does not shock me. This does not surprise me. I can promise you this is not the last thing that we find out about people investigating Diddy and what he's done.
As 1996 rolled around, the tension had reached a boiling point. Both Tupac and Biggie were living with the constant threat of violence. Their lyrics became more pointed, more personal. What had started as friendly competition had turned into something far more dangerous. The stage was set for tragedy. The hip-hop world held its breath, wondering how far this rivalry would go. Little did anyone know that on a September night in Las Vegas, everything would change forever. September 7th, 1996, a date that would become etched in hip-hop history. But why did a night that started with celebration end in tragedy? The answer lies in a series of decisions and coincidences that still baffle investigators to this day. Las Vegas was buzzing with excitement. The bright lights of the MGM Grand were shining even brighter as fans poured in to watch Mike Tyson's highly anticipated boxing match. Among the crowd was Tupac Shakur, the charismatic rapper who had become the face of West Coast hip-hop. hip-hop. Surrounded by his entourage, including Death Row Records head Suge Knight, Tupac was in high spirits, socializing with friends and basking in the energy of the night. As the evening wore on, the atmosphere inside the casino grew electric. Tupac, always the center of attention, moved through the crowds, greeting fans and fellow celebrities. Little did he know that every step he took was bringing him closer to a confrontation that would change everything. Around 11:15 p.m., shortly after the Tyson fight ended, Tupac and Suge Knight left the MGM Grand. They climbed into Knight's black BMW with Tupac in the passenger seat. The plan was to head to a nearby club to continue the night's festivities. But as they cruised down the Las Vegas Strip, fate had other plans. Suddenly, a white Cadillac pulled up alongside them. In a matter of seconds, the night air was shattered by the sound of gunfire. Bullets sprayed the BMW, shattering glass and tearing through metal. Tupac, trapped in the passenger seat, had no chance to escape. The Cadillac sped away as quickly as it had appeared, leaving chaos in its wake. Eyewitnesses described a scene of utter pandemonium. People scattered, screaming for help as Suge Knight, despite being grazed by a bullet, managed to steer the bullet-riddled car to safety. Tupac, however, wasn't so lucky. He had been hit multiple times and was quickly losing blood. As news of the shooting spread, fans and fellow artists held their breath, praying for Tupac's recovery. He was rushed to the University Medical Center, where doctors worked tirelessly to save his life. For 6 agonizing days, Tupac clung to life, his condition fluctuating between critical and stable. But on September 13th, 1996, the world received the news it had been dreading. Tupac Shakur, just 25 years old, had succumbed to his injuries. The immediate aftermath was a whirlwind of grief, shock, and speculation. As the hip-hop community mourned, investigators scrambled to piece together what had happened. Initial police reports were frustratingly vague, offering few concrete leads. The white Cadillac had vanished into the night, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. One detail that puzzled investigators was the size of Tupac's entourage that night. Crime scene investigator Cheryl McCollum noted that Tupac had been surrounded by a group of about 40 people, yet none of them were harmed in the attack. This suggested a highly targeted hit, raising suspicions about who might have orchestrated such a precise assault. As theories began to emerge, the ongoing East Coast-West Coast rivalry loomed large. Some pointed fingers at rival gang members, while others wondered if someone closer to Tupac's inner circle might be involved. McCollum raised an intriguing point about the lack of video footage from both the 1994 shooting that had wounded Tupac and this fatal 1996 incident. Could someone close to Tupac have had inside knowledge of his movements? The investigation would lead detectives down a complex web of relationships, rivalries, and grudges.
To see what happened, the connection between Diddy and Keefe D, and there was, when we were in high school and Tupac died, everybody said, hey, Diddy did it, right? And it was kind of like, back then it was Puff Daddy. At the end of the day, that's what's happening. You're going to see many, many more instances of people coming up with theories against Diddy.
At the center of it all was Tupac's very public accusation that Sean Diddy Combs and Biggie Smalls had been involved in the 1994 shooting. This claim had poured gasoline on the already raging fire of the coastal rivalry, creating a volatile situation that many believed had directly led to the events in Las Vegas. Just when it seemed the case had gone cold, a new player entered the game. Dwayne Kefe D. Davis wasn't just another witness. He claimed to hold the key to solving Tupac's murder, but why had he waited so long to come forward? And could his story be trusted?
And this Keefe D has proven himself to be the type of person who wants attention and talks a lot. I'm gonna say Diddy did it, all these other people. So at the end of the day, it's just not credible. He's not gonna get attention if he says, hey, my friend here, my neighbor was the person who was behind, him, and these are the 5 people that helped me kill Diddy. No, to kill Tupac.
Davis, a former gang member with ties to both coasts, dropped a bombshell in 2008 that would reignite the investigation into Tupac's death. In a shocking interview, he claimed that Sean Diddy Combs had offered him a staggering $1 million to get rid of Tupac Shakur and Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight. This wasn't just street talk. A DEA and U.S. Department of Justice report from that time corroborated Davis's account, lending credibility to his explosive allegations. But as with everything in this case, nothing was straightforward. Diddy vehemently denied any involvement, stating, "The story is a lie. Neither the late rapper Notorious B.I.G. nor I had any knowledge of any attack before, during, or after it happened." The hip-hop mogul's denial was absolute, but it did little to quell the growing suspicions surrounding his potential role in the tragedy.
Well, Phil, I mean, these accusations have been going on for quite some time, and Tupac's family has hired Alex Spiro. Someone else is being prosecuted for this murder right now in Las Vegas, and that's Keith Davis. He's alleged to be. The challenge here is, even though the allegations are that Combs may have been involved in the 1994 shooting.
As investigators dug deeper, more inconsistencies began to surface. Crime scene investigator Cheryl McCollum pointed out a puzzling detail that had been overlooked for years. How was it possible that the large entourage accompanying Diddy remained unharmed during both of Tupac's shootings? This raised questions about whether someone close to Tupac had insider knowledge of his movements, narrowing down the pool of potential suspects. The lack of video footage from both shooting incidents further fueled speculation. In an era where cameras were becoming increasingly prevalent, how could there be no visual evidence of such high-profile attacks? This glaring absence of crucial evidence led some to wonder if powerful figures had played a role in shielding those responsible for Tupac's murder. As the years passed, the case seemed to fade from public consciousness. The NYPD had closed the investigation due to a lack of evidence, only to reopen it in 2006. Yet despite renewed efforts, no prosecutions followed. It appeared that the truth behind Tupac's murder might remain buried forever. But recent events have thrust Diddy back into the spotlight, reigniting interest in his alleged connection to Tupac's death. The music mogul now faces serious legal troubles, including charges related to racketeering and sex trafficking. While Diddy has pleaded not guilty to these charges, the allegations have intensified scrutiny on his past and potential involvement in one of hip-hop's most notorious unsolved crimes. The ongoing investigation into Diddy's alleged role in Tupac's murder is now part of a broader narrative. Numerous allegations against him have emerged following lawsuits filed by former associates and partners, further complicating his public image and raising questions about the extent of his influence in the music industry. As new details continue to emerge, the case that once seemed cold has been thrust back into the spotlight. The reopening of the investigation has given hope to those who have long sought justice for Tupac. But with conflicting statements, missing evidence, and the passage of time, the path to the truth remains fraught with challenges. For nearly 30 years, the truth behind Tupac's murder has remained elusive. Now, a surprising ally has emerged in the fight for justice, one whose expertise could finally unravel the web of silence surrounding that fateful night in Las Vegas. What new evidence has come to light that's compelling enough to reignite this cold case? Enter Alex Spiro, a high-profile attorney known for taking on impossible cases and coming out on top. The Shakur family's decision to bring him on board signals a new chapter in their relentless pursuit of the truth. Spiro's track record, which includes representing Alec Baldwin in the Rust shooting trial, suggests he might just be the key to cracking this decades-old mystery wide open. But why now? The Shakur family's quest for closure has been a long and painful journey. For years, they've watched as leads went cold and witnesses fell silent. They've endured countless false starts and dashed hopes. Yet through it all, they've never given up on finding justice for Tupac. The recent allegations from Kefe D have breathed new life into the investigation. His claim that Diddy had a financial motive to eliminate Tupac has opened up new avenues of inquiry, suggesting a deeper conspiracy within the hip-hop community than previously thought. It's these fresh leads that have spurred the Shakur family to take action, enlisting Spiro to delve deeper into the nearly 3-decade-old case. But reopening a case this old comes with its own set of challenges. Legal experts have pointed out the difficulties in gathering new evidence after so much time has passed. Witnesses may be uncooperative or unavailable, and physical evidence could have degraded or disappeared entirely. The passage of time has a way of obscuring the truth, making Spiro's task all the more daunting. Yet there's reason for hope. Crime scene investigator Cheryl McCollum has highlighted inconsistencies in the original investigation that could provide new leads. She's raised questions about why Tupac was targeted while Diddy's entourage remained unharmed, suggesting the possibility of an inside job. These overlooked details could be the key to unraveling the mystery. The reopening of the investigation coincides with Diddy's recent legal troubles, including charges related to racketeering and sex trafficking. While these charges are unrelated to Tupac's murder, they've put Diddy back in the spotlight and raised new questions about his past. The timing of these developments has only intensified the scrutiny on his alleged involvement in Tupac's death. As Spiro and the Shakur family dig deeper, they're not just seeking justice for Tupac, they're aiming to unravel the complex web of relationships and rivalries that defined the hip-hop scene in the 1990s. Their investigation could have far-reaching implications, potentially reshaping our understanding of that pivotal era in music history. The latest developments in the case have sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community. Old allegiances are being questioned, and long-held secrets are threatening to come to light. As the investigation gains momentum, there's a sense that we might finally be on the verge of uncovering the truth about what happened that night in Las Vegas.